All right, we're going to do a valve cover gasket on this Generation 1 Insight, the 1 liter. First thing you're going to do, take this pipe out, 10 millimeter bolt kind of hiding under here, and get this off. You got 3 10 millimeters right here. Do that, and then yeah, we'll come back. All right, now that we got these off, mine has a little washer here because I lost this one. Had to make my own. Pop that off real fast. Well, I dropped it. I'll get that in a minute. Okay, this is just pushed in here. It's plastic, so just pop that out a little bit. Lift this up in the front a little, and then this should be loose enough to just pull the whole thing off. Be careful, don't lose these washers in the back. There's also one in the front, but mine's gone. Hence the little washer that I did have. Now, you'll loosen this bolt right here. It's 10 millimeter as well. A lot of times this will come out too. This is a little piece that goes down in there, so don't lose that. I usually pull it out at the same time. All right, now you got these 2 big hinges. These you just squeeze with your thumbs, pull it back off of here, and there's another one right there. Just reach down there and push it down off of the pipe. Once you got that down, lift this up and pops off, and then pull this one off, it pops off. This can come out as one big tube, right? And that just stays on there. The other one will stay right there. And that's just a resonator pipe for the intake. All right, so now that we've got that, we're gonna take off this right here, this tube right here, and this is not clamped on, it just pulls off. And then this right here, you're gonna loosen this and pull it back. And do those, and I'll come back. I forgot too, this was PCV, so it just kind of slides in here. So you can just pull this straight out, just like that. All right, so now we got these 2 off of here. I got this one clamped back and then pulled off, and you can just leave it right here. Doesn't really get in the way. If it's in your way, you can pull this back. You're gonna need some pliers, and this whole piece will pop off, give you some more room. And this little clip has to come out of there. And then there's another line right here you'd have to remove. I don't ever take that off to do the valve cover. All right, next we're gonna take this off, 10 millimeter right here. This is for your throttle cable. And then come over here, these are your 2 fuel lines. If you lift this up, there's a 10 millimeter right here. We're gonna take that off and loosen this just to get it out of the way. All right, so I've gotten this loose. Just hanging here loose. Don't need to remove that, just stay like that. Your throttle cable bracket, got that loose. Next on, you're gonna be this right here. This other one doesn't have a bolt on it. That came from your valve cover, so it's loose. This is a 17 millimeter, but it's got a high post. So you're gonna have to use a wrench, or I just use an adjustable on it if I have one handy, and I did. Pop it loose, it shouldn't be very tight, and you don't wanna tighten it back too much either. And then you just unscrew it, just like this. Pop that off. I'll be back. And once you got that off, it looks like this. Short end is what goes down. All right. Then you want to lift this up, off. Just ignore that wiring right there. Had to repair something. But that's pretty much all we're going to need to do. The rest of it is going to be all of these valve cover gasket bolts. They're all 10 millimeters. You start from the outside in, take them off in a crisscross pattern. So you want to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then crisscross again, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 10 millimeter bolts. So take those off, and then we'll continue here. All right, once you got those 8 bolts out, they're all the same length, so don't worry about if you get them mixed up. It's not a big deal. You've got everything pretty much done. So now you just need to lift it off. And this thing is not really on here very good, so you can just kind of, I'm trying to do this one-handed here. You're gonna have to pull these hoses back a little bit. So you have to work it up some over the cam gear and then pull it off. And there you go. There's our underneath, and this is where you can also adjust your timing if you need to, or your valve lash adjustment if you need to. There's also a little plug right here that leaks. Mine's not leaking, so I'm not replacing that right now, but that's where you can get to that. You can take a little pry bar or screwdriver and push from the back side, and that'll pop out, and then just slap a new one in there. So now all we got to do is all this oil that's collected right here, we're going to wipe that all off, make sure everything's clean. I'm going to hit it with some brake clean too. Lightly, don't spray it down in your oil unless you're planning to change it at the same time. But I'm going to do that, and then we're going to pull the gasket off of here. Use a pick, your fingers, or a little small flathead. Just pry a corner out and then pull it off. And then here I've got my new Molly gasket, and we'll put that on. So before I put this new gasket in here, here's my old one. It's pretty brittle and hard. I just want to replace it. It's not broken or anything. But the good way to find out the orientation of this gasket is this big flap right here is on the bottom edge, right across from where the oil fill is. So just put it in there, and that's how it's going to go in. See, is it lined up? All right. Okay, we've gotten this thing replaced in here. And as you can see, it's sitting up a little bit. My other one was sitting completely flat, so you should actually get a little bit more sealing. You want to just rub your hand across and make sure that it's all the way down the groove and it's not popped up anymore. This on the end here was popped up, kind of hanging just like that. So it's a good thing to just double check right here and make sure that you get it back in the groove and that everything's lining up. And these little dimples, you want to make sure you get right in front of where the bolt holes are at. Now mine's popping back out again. All right, there we go. We got everything laid back down. So now what we're going to do is go in reverse order. We're going to pop this back on, and I'm going to show that right now. Just lift these lines back up and feed it back under there. And before you tighten it down, just take a look and make sure that your gasket doesn't fall out or anything, all right? And this is exactly when you want to check something like that. See? My gasket popped out right there when I was putting it back down. So I'm going to have to pull this back off and just make sure I get that back in the groove. Because if I tighten it down, it'd probably rip that gasket and then we'd have a problem. Okay, we got it back on here. And as you can see, look around the edges here. Gasket's not popping out anywhere that I can see. So what we're going to do now is just put these bolts back in, and we're going to start from the center. And what I usually like to do is run these down until it just tightens up just a little bit, and then you come back over and torque them. Now, I'll give you the torque spec in a second, but I don't torque these. It's not a whole lot. Maybe, you know, hand tight plus a quarter turn. It shouldn't take much on these, but I'll get you the torque spec before I finish this video. So the torque spec is 8.7 foot-pounds, 8.7. So like, this is really nothing. Let me throw these bolts back in, and we're gonna tighten it up. All right, I'm gonna run through I do it. I'm using my little Milwaukee 3/8. I wouldn't recommend this, but I am a 26-year veteran in the automotive industry, so I know how tight things need to be. We'll just barely run it in a little bit. So you can see it moving down. We're going to go on these outside corners. Only do this if you know what you're doing. It's very easy to break off a bolt in the head. Alright, tight, 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 tight. Now we're going to the outside again. Tight, 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 and tight. And that's all. All 8. Got it back together. We'll just, first thing, we're going to feed this down here. Pop this back in. We'll pop this back on. I'll get this clamp in a second. Don't forget that. Make sure these go back in their little grooves here. This is your fuel pressure regulator vacuum. Make sure that goes on. The car will not crank without that. If it does, it won't run very well. We're going to line that back up. And this one, pull this fuel line back out of here. Let's pop back in. Get that lined up. And put our bolt back in there. And then, before we do any of that, throw this back on this post here. And get our big 17mm post here. And feed this through here and tighten it up. So I'll be back. Okay, got our pipe back on. clamp back in place. Try to put that in the same groove you took it out as. Keep it from leaking. This is tight. You got the bolt back in it right there. Push that back down in there. That's your fuel lines. This is your throttle cable connection. So that's tight. All right, and now we're ready to start putting the covers and then our intake resonator tube back on. All right. Okay, intake resonator. All right, we got our intake resonator tube, and I'm going to show you how I put it back on. There's probably a few different ways to do this, but I found this the easiest way. It's pretty easy to put on anyways. All right, so slide this on first, right over here on this big section on the side of your air filter housing. And then you got this piece hanging down here, and this pipe right here. It's gonna be hard to do one-handed, but I'm gonna hold on to the top of it with my hand, right, so my little finger poking out there. Put pressure down here, and then just pull up on this pipe, and it'll slide up. It's on there. So now I just grab this piece that we took off earlier, come up on the top of the hose, that'll hold it. And this one over here, bring that around to the front and pull it over, and you'll see where it was at before. There's a little indention there, so just put that back on right there. There we go. This one goes in right here on this one closest to your valve cover. And it's a plug, it just pushes down in that hole, just like that. And that lines our bolt hole up right here that we took off. Here's that piece that was in there. Mine always falls out, so I took it off. And then here is the 10mm that goes back in it. So we'll put that in there, get it started. Make sure you get these bolts started before you do it, otherwise you might strip them out. There we go, it's started. Grab my ratchet, tighten down, perfect. So now let me just grab the engine cover, that's it. It's a good time, go ahead and wipe off your valve cover, clean mine off a little bit. You know, it's not the cleanest thing, but this is just a daily driver for me, so. But yeah, we're gonna get this cover on and we'll be all done. Okay, we got the cover back. We're gonna line these two back holes up here with these two posts on that 17 that we had. Be careful, when these come through, they might push up and knock your, see how it's trying to push my washer up right there? So just try to keep it straight as you can. And if you need to, just use your finger and get the washer back down. Now, once you got that, where they're starting to come through, come up front and give it just a little push and get it to go down on that front post. And then come over here, and this is that other one we have beside that resonator tube. Push that down like that. There you go. Both washers down, so you'll have these black nuts like this. My back two are like that. Start those, and then I'm going to tighten them up with my ratchet here in a second. I do need to find that washer, so I'm not going to put my front nut on yet, but it's the same. If you're on yours, you'll have that washer and nut just like that. So you just come back, tighten those up, and that's it. Quick and dirty, nothing to it. Really, really easy job. All you really need to do it is a ratchet, 10mm. You don't have to have an electric one, just makes it easier. You can have an adjustable or a 17mm wrench. If you don't have an adjustable laying down, you just want to use a 17mm for that post. And then you need some kind of pliers to get the hose clamps loose. And that's really all you need besides the valve cover gasket. And then some kind of rag to wipe the oil down. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, hope this helps somebody. Thanks a lot.